Hello, everybody. I am Keith Corpus. I'm the principal of Pacific Academy. Thank you for joining us to our first PA virtual open house. We're delighted to have you here. I'm sure there's a few more people, it looks like, that are still going to be joining us, but we hope it'll be something that's helpful and help you learn a lot more about who we are, what we're doing now, and maybe how we can help you and your children in the future. A few people are probably still getting settled, so maybe as we wait for a few more participants to come, we'd like to start with a short video that tells you a little bit more about us and gives you another perspective. And then I will be back, and then we'll go through our webinar with you guys. Pacific Academy is a small private school here in the terrific city of Irvine. We work with grades 7 through 12. Our small class sizes and our dedicated teachers do a great job of building rapport and working with the students to help nurture and cultivate them as well, and to help them understand their passions and make them feel really good about school.
Pacific Academy's philosophy is based around the idea that each student is an individual, and the classes and the curriculum really are developed around each student's kind of individual talent.
I've been playing piano since I was 4, and I've been performing since I was 8 or 9. It's a dream come true to be able to go to high school and play piano at the same time.
The teachers are really supportive, and I feel really excited to even come to the school.
At Pacific Academy, we also have many extracurricular activities that students can get involved in. And we do field trips throughout the entire year.
Pacific Academy is my dream. Because we are small, we are able to understand every student's personality and ability. Our teachers and students really love the beauty of a small school. We're able to provide the student the personal attention they deserve, supporting students' talents, college counseling, and the 100% college acceptance.
Certainly Pacific Academy is a place that cultivates a lot of warmth. It's a real community. We are respectful, responsible, and kind to one another.
Hi, my name's Chris Lewis, and I'm a former tour professional. Since retiring, I have become a tennis coach. 2 of my students at Pacifica are Caroline Shea and Stephanie Hazel. Stephanie is an enormously talented player who is very talented in a number of sports, but she's decided to specialize in tennis, and she has aspirations to become a tennis professional. Caroline was always one of the highest nationally ranked players through the age groups. She has ambitions to become a touring professional as well, and both of these players have tremendous futures ahead of them. Being at the highest level in any discipline is difficult, but when you also have very demanding academic standards that you want to meet, combining the two is an issue. One of the huge advantages with Pacifica is the time flexibility. You can be much more productive with your time than with traditional academic approaches, so that everything is completed in a reasonable amount of time during the day without compromising the standards, leaving enough time available for training and doing what needs to be done to reach the highest level of excellence in the sport as well. So not only are you getting very high level academic tuition, you've also got the flexibility of hours during the day to pursue other activities such as tennis or whatever discipline you're involved in, and you can excel in both areas because of the extra time you have available. I think it's a perfect fit. If you had the option to choose the Pacifica approach or the traditional approach, I lean much more in favor of the Pacifica approach just because of the time availability. It is much easier to get more accomplished, and there is absolutely no hint of compromising anything. In fact, just the opposite. I actually think it's the way of the future.
Hello, my name is Linda Lin. As an international student, Pacific Academy has given me a lot of opportunities to take high-level courses. For example, in my freshman year, I took 3 AP classes. Because of the small class sizes, the teachers can really focus on each individual student. It also opens doors for me to develop my leadership skills. As a foreign student, leading a club is new to me. When I first started Make-A-Wish, it was extremely difficult. Make-A-Wish Foundation requires each new club to achieve a $5,000 goal in order to adopt a wish of a kid with terminal disease. When I first heard of this $5,000 goal, I felt it was an unattainable task. However, because of all the encouragement and help I received from teachers, I was able to overcome that difficulty and achieve that task. As an international student, I understand that it will be really difficult for me to achieve all these accomplishments if I'm in a bigger public school or private school. So Pacific Academy gives me a lot of opportunities for me to do all these stuff. And the frequent college counseling meetings really give me guidance on how to develop skills in multiple areas. Choosing Pacific Academy is one of the best choices that I've made, and I feel really lucky to be a part of this family. I strongly recommend this school to any international or local student who want to challenge themselves and develop a strong academic foundation.
I started playing tennis when I was 2 years old. My brother started playing and he's 5 years older than I was. So every day my parents would bring me to the court, and that's kind of how I started playing tennis, because of my brother. Once I started playing tournaments, I realized I was pretty good at the sport. So I won the first tournament I played, and then from that point on, I just kept on getting better and better. And so with that crazy hectic schedule of traveling and everything, I was attending public school, but it was getting kind of busy with the traveling and the tennis. And I would be doing homework in the airports and on the plane, but that would start to be overwhelming. So I thought I need to make a change now too. My school had to work around my tennis, and my tennis could work around my school. Make sure my tennis can be where it needs to be to play professionally. And that's when I decided, with the wrist injury and everything, I had to go to Pacific Academy. I'm a pretty organized person, so I like to keep my schedule, block out time for tennis, and then do my school around that. I found all the teachers being really personalized, and they always, even if I had to travel or I had to play a tournament, they always found a way to make the schedule work. They're constantly emailing me, making sure I'm on task, time with my projects and everything, and that makes it really helpful, because even if I had to travel or I had to play a tournament, I forget to do something sometimes. They always keep on reminding me. They always found a way to make the schedule work. And that kind of flexibility, which is like finding a good coach for tennis, it's the same thing with the teachers. They really understood what I was going through and what education meant to me, and how it's different than from student to student, and they really understood that aspect. I definitely recommend Pacific Academy for individuals who need a little bit more flexibility in their schedules, whether you're into theater or sports or anything that you need to perform at a high level at. Definitely the schedule, the school, the staff, the way the classes are structured will give you the best chance to be the best you can be at whatever you want to do.
So thank you very much for watching that great video. I'm actually missing a lot of those students these days, so and hopefully we'll get to see some of those guys again soon. But just to tell you quickly about today's agenda. So you heard a little bit during that video about some of these things, and so these are some of the areas of the school that we're going to try to take you on a tour of today. We have a few tour guides today. You'll have myself, you'll have our CEO and founder, Kelly Chu, one of our wonderful teachers, Mr. Rudy, one of our students, and a couple of our great parents who will also be talking. My first few slides here, I just want to give you a little bit of background about Pacific Academy. We've been here since 2011, so we are a fairly new school, but we are WASC accredited. And what does that mean? So the Western Association of Schools and Colleges is the main accrediting agency in California, and they visit us every 3 years, like they do many schools. They have given us accreditation, which indicates that we're a trustworthy place for high learning, and that other educators have shown that we've demonstrated a commitment to continual self-improvement. All of our courses are also UC approved, and they're also NCAA approved for some of our students who want to go on and do Division I or Division II sports. So that's just a little bit about our accreditation. Our mission and vision, I won't get into too much detail here, but you can see some of the highlighted or bolded words. So one of the key features for us is understanding the individual and taking a holistic approach and really working with that individual student. We are a college preparatory school, so getting students ready for their best match university or college is an important goal for us as well. And then the third thing that's really important is that we want to develop the whole person. We want people who are compassionate, creative, inquisitive, responsible, and as I think I said in the video, good, kind people as well. So those are really important qualities for us. In fact, we often live by a couple of mottos that we often use around here. One is that we are small by design, and the other is the opportunity to be me, which I think you heard a few people talk about, and I think some other people will say some more about that later on. And that really means getting to know individual students, helping them grow, challenging them when they need a challenge, supporting and nurturing them when they need to be supported and nurtured. And to give you an idea of small, so that's been referenced a few times. So we are small in terms of student body. We have about 125 students in grades 7 through 12. Our typical senior class is about 25 or 30 students. This year's class, the class of 2020, is actually 24 students, so just a little bit underneath that. And if you were to walk around our school and peer into classes, you'd see that they were pretty small. On average, they are about 10 students in a class. You might see some classes with 3 or 4 or 5 students. You might see some with 12 or 13 students, but on average, about 10. So what does that do? It allows us to be particularly supportive and attentive to students. It allows for great communication with students and their families. It allows us, as Chris Lewis was saying in the video, to provide some flexibility, to provide some accommodation, particularly as students might need that. Again, whether it's because they want to be pushed more or they need some more help. So those are all the things that are really advantages of our small school size. We have 2 campuses. We have one in Encinitas that preceded this one here, and we have this one in Irvine, which has been here since 2011 when Kelly Chu founded the school. And just to make clear, we're just going to talk about our Irvine campus today. The campuses have a lot of similarities, a few differences, but the Irvine campus also has a K through 6 program. Today's webinar is on our 7 through 12 program, so our middle school and high school. But if you have younger kids or know somebody with younger kids and you're interested in K through 6, please do get in touch. That K through 6 program is also small. That has about 25 students in it. And its key feature is that it's a Chinese immersion program. In other words, 50% of the classes are taught in Mandarin Chinese and 50% of the classes are taught in English. And so by the end of that K6 program, those students are fluent in 2 languages. Our 7 through 12 program is not an immersion program. We have many students who are bilingual, but it's not an immersion program. So just to clarify that. With regards to our campus, we have a lovely campus here. So we are a small school, but we have a really good space for it. We're actually on the property of, if any of you have ever been by here, St. Paul's Greek Orthodox Church. They have this wonderful education building that's about 35,000 square feet and about 20 classrooms. We have a gym and a multi-purpose room where we do a lot of our activities and have a lot of events and meetings and parties with kids. So it's a really nice space and a nice campus. So the campus is a good size. And you get a sense of the building right there in that slide. We're very conveniently located right here in the middle of Irvine. And we all know that Irvine is a super safe city. We're very fortunate to be in what's been deemed the safest city in America. And that's true of our campus as well. Very safe, very secure, everything that you'd need with regards to proper fencing and security. So it's a really great place. And if you haven't been here, we hope you can sometime visit. But obviously, that's going to be when the time allows. So we do look forward to meeting people and showing you around. We take pride in that. And one day, we know that will be possible, and we hope that soon. So we hope you can schedule a visit with us. I wanted to give you a little bit of background about what's going on right now. So obviously, no one's on campus in schools, whether you're in the elementary school, high school, or in college. People are doing distance learning. And I want to tell you a little bit about how we're doing it, because I'm not sure what experience you're currently seeing or having with your own families, but I think ours is a little bit different. And so I just wanted to highlight that to you. So since March 20th, we've been doing online learning. And what does that look like for us? That means that all of our classes are live and synchronous. In other words, school starts at 8 a.m. and finishes at 2:35 p.m. So at 8 a.m., students are expected to be in their first period class, and then they go to their second period class. We are doing this through like Zoom, and we had already been using Google Classroom, and many of our teachers had already been using other apps like Flipgrid and a few others, Nearpod. And so we've used that knowledge we had with technology, and we're able to do a pretty good transition to online learning. So our students are in class 6 periods a day. They have periods 1 and 2, then a break, 45-minute break, 3 and 4, then a break for lunch, and then periods 5 and 6. And what we found is that although it is different, it has worked out very well. It's been wonderful to see everyone make a really good adjustment. Attendance has been excellent. In fact, we check attendance every period. You know, it happens with all of us that every now and then there'll be some kind of internet glitch or someone will lose a connection. Families have been great with letting us know when they're having a problem, and we're making sure to follow up with the student if they miss part of a class to make sure that they don't miss too much. So it's really gone pretty well, and attendance, in fact, is probably even better than when you have regular school in some ways. So it's been really neat to see. We also do what we call advisement here at Pacific Academy. So every month, a student has a one-on-one meeting with one of their teachers. That's their advisor. We've continued to do that. So we are setting up individual conferences so they can talk about their academics or maybe something extracurricular, something that's going on in their life that might be outside of academics as well. We also do a really good job with college counseling. It's quite a robust program, and we'll talk about it more later on, but college counseling has continued as well, which means that our college counselors have weekly meetings with juniors or seniors. Seniors actually have just recently made their decisions about where they're attending, and we're still helping them through that process and anything they need to do to finalize their matriculation. And obviously working very closely with our juniors, meeting them weekly to help them with that process. So through online learning, it's been important for us to maintain and meet our academic expectations. Obviously, we've had to make some accommodations, simplify some things, and make some changes. But I've been really impressed and proud to see how students and teachers and families have all risen to the occasion so that we can continue high quality education and a really great experience together as much as we can. So just wanted to let you know about that. Later on, I'll try and talk a little bit about maybe what we expect for the future, although a lot of people are trying to figure that out. But let me tell you about our more regular curriculum. So if you wanted to have an idea of, what do students take when they come to Pacific Academy, I don't think there's anything too surprising. I think actually the difference is in how we do it, not necessarily what we offer. So 7th and 8th graders, obviously they're taking English and history, math and science and some elective classes. With math, so it always depends on where the student is. So we try to have an understanding of what they've been doing. We do our own assessment once students have been admitted, and then we try to figure out the best class that matches where they are. When I get into the high school one, some of you who are in Irvine Unified Schools might notice that the math curriculum is a little bit different, or at least it's named differently in the public schools, right? They use an integrated math approach. We do not. So we follow the traditional pre-algebra, algebra 1, geometry, algebra 2, etc. However, we have a good knowledge of that integrated curriculum, and we know where students will probably fit in our curriculum. So we do try to make that transition as smooth as possible. And we do have a good understanding of how students are being educated in math in Irvine. And then for, obviously, outside the core classes, there's foreign language requirements, there's some art choices, and obviously electives as well. And all of our middle schoolers obviously take PE too. Getting into our high school years. So this is not exactly how it would work for every high school student, but just to give you a good idea. So obviously they're taking their core courses as well. They're going to do a foreign language. We like students to do at least 2 years, maybe 3 years of foreign language. Obviously, we have different arts classes that kids can take too. There's different levels of art, intro art, advanced art, AP art, and we have a number of different electives as well. 9th and 10th graders do their PE. I'm going to say more about PE in a second. And obviously, students have to take a semester of health. They don't have to do that in their junior year. That's just illustrated there that way, just to give you an idea of the different courses that a student would take during their high school curriculum. Just a word about that PE part of it. There's 3 ways that we have students fulfill their PE. One can be the traditional PE class, which meets for 50-minute sessions and takes them through units on basketball, American football, volleyball, etc. Another way is joining one of our sports teams, which we'll talk about later on. And then a third way is what we call independent PE. An independent PE is students who might do something outside of school, take a yoga class. We have one student who liked horseback riding. We have many martial artists here at the school, and maybe they do something outside of school, and we will count that as their PE credit, and we call it independent PE. So there's different ways to meet that PE requirement. You saw on that grid there that there's different levels of classes. So there's different levels of English, different levels of science. We have honors and AP as well as just the regular college prep program. And so we have over 30 AP or weighted classes. And I'm sure you guys know that weighted means it's on a 5.0 scale. And again, all of these are UC approved classes. And so when appropriate, we really like to challenge our students and have them in these weighted classes. And we do have a bunch of offerings for being such a small school. We do project-based learning as well. And to help just talk about that a little bit is one of our teachers, Don Rudy, who's been here with us for a number of years and has been a great teacher in biology, but also really a leader for our project-based learning as well. So Don's going to tell you a little bit about project-based learning.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Corpus. Well, like Mr. Corpus said, my name is Don Rudy. I've been with PA for 4 years now, going on 4 years. And one of my things I love about PA, one of the many things, is this thing called project-based learning, or PBL. These aren't your typical projects where a student might make a poster or create a review game to learn. These are projects that can span a semester, maybe longer. They're hands-on and experiential, where the kids are creating a project from scratch, and they get to add some creative flair to it. They work together in groups generally, could be anywhere from 2 to a whole class working on one project. And I believe it's through these projects that students are really building college and career skills, things like critical thinking, time management, and learning to work as a team. Just this year, I had 2 students that in my biology class that wanted to build a garden at school to help the environment. And the idea was to have plants that supported and attract these pollinators, such as honeybees and butterflies and things like that. So they needed to research. They needed to find out what kind of plants to use, what kind of soil. They even built this box because the garden was going to sit above ground. They had to learn how to work with wood. And they built this pretty cool garden. And through the process, they had a problem solve. They had to communicate with each other. They did all this on their own, which was the greatest part. It wasn't a teacher telling them what to do and how to do it. So it was really independent learning was happening with these 2. And at the end, we feel really good about this. And it was meaningful because now they left the school with something. It was pretty cool. So here's how it works. Each year, the administration and teachers, we get together and we decide on a theme for the year for our PBL. This year, it happened to be on the environment. And we kicked the PBL off by doing a school-wide field trip. This year, we went to the safari park and we learned about endangered animals and their environments and human impacts on them. Kind of one of my things I love the most about that is when you're in these field trips, you get to bond with students in a way that just doesn't happen in a classroom. So you really do become close with them. And it truly is like a family kind of setting when you go back into the classroom. These field trips, these PBL field trips, they're just like a stepping stone for students to start working on their project. It gives them ideas on what they can do. Yeah, teachers, we give them guiding questions such as what can PA students do to help their local environment? Or how can we raise awareness to the excess use of plastics? And then students work on it throughout the year. Towards the end of the year, we have a school-wide annual PBL fair. And this is where students get to showcase what they've worked on throughout the year. If you see the picture there with the 2 girls, these girls are from Miss Corwin's English class. And they had a really creative idea. They decided to put on a fashion show, kind of bring attention to some environmental problems that are happening globally. So Selena is the one in the navy blue PA polo, and she's the designer, and Jamie is standing next to her and modeling her design, which is supposed to demonstrate how the overuse of plastics are impacting the oceans. Well, when it's all said and done and the PBLs are over, I always ask the students, like, what did you get out of it? And I always hear them say, they learned a lot. It was tough. It was difficult because it is rather challenging, but they always mention how fun they are. Now, as a teacher, learning and fun together, I consider that success. Thank you, Mr. Corpus. Back to you.
Thank you, Don, for talking about project-based learning. I really appreciate that. Don and many of our teachers do a great job with it, and it is fun, particularly that fair that Don was talking about, to watch that. So you've learned a little bit about our curriculum, the courses we have, and project-based learning, which is one of the ways that we teach those courses. We also want to talk to you a little bit about school life. And the things that we do to enrich. Because remember, I did say that our approach is holistic and we're interested in the full individual. So we're interested in them in the classroom and developing them there academically, but also in other ways too. So we have clubs like any school does, and we have over 25 different clubs, which is a pretty good number for a school of 125 students. And I tend to think of our clubs in 3 different categories. We have a number that are academic, Model UN. You're going to hear Brandon Pay talk about that later on. Science Olympiad, Math Club, National Honor Society, just a few examples. We have a number of service clubs. You heard Linda Lynn in that video talk about Make-A-Wish. There's also Best Buddies. This year, a new club started called the Eco-Friendly Club, which was an environmental club. And then we have a bunch of others that I would say are interested in something cultural, maybe some particular hobby or interest, or are fun. So there's some students who wanted to hang out after school and play board games, and they wanted to start a board game club. A couple years ago, a do-it-yourself club started, which is both an arts and crafts type club, but they also do things for service. They try to help other people with their arts and crafts. A film club, a broadcast news, and a number of others. Students are often at the center of starting these clubs. They're the ones who maybe have a good proposal, get an advisor, and they really make it happen. So there's a fairly rich, robust club life. Engagement is a word I use a lot in school, and having students involved in things is really important for us and for them. And so part of that is getting involved in clubs. We also have sports teams. Now our sports teams are, like our school, a little bit smaller. So they're not CIF or California Interscholastic Federation teams. And so they are maybe for students who are more beginner, intermediate level, and we have 6 different sports. We do have some very high-level athletes that you're going to hear about later on, tennis players, basketball players, golfers, and those students, while we support them academically and they are really enrich our school, they do a lot of their athletics outside of school. But we do have sports teams that we do encourage kids to join and to get better at as well. We have a number of other activities and things that kind of give us a good, rich school life. And I'm going to ask Brandon Pay, one of our wonderful 11th graders, to talk about some of our different activities and field trips. Brandon?
Thank you, Mr. Corpus, for the warm introduction. Again, hi, everybody. My name is Brandon Pay, and I'm a prospective May 2021 graduate. Just a little bit about myself. I was admitted to PA in 2017 as a freshman. And in my time here, one of the things that I truly learned about this campus is that it's much, much more than a school. And we're family, and that's really what makes us so different, because PA has the ability to go above and beyond the call of duty to create a warm community, not only for students, but teachers and parents alike. And this leads me to my first point about our activities. And one thing I really believe is that it's every parent's dream to see their child succeed, and it's PA's absolute mission to deliver this. But as the saying goes, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And so here at PA, the staff and faculty help create an environment of constructive engagement, not only in the classroom, but outside as well. From sleeping under the stars at Joshua Tree National Park to weekend activities like snorkeling and paintball, PA provides a series of activities for every student to take part in, and it helps us bring each and every one of us together as one big family. And this past October, PA traveled to El Capitan in Santa Barbara. There, we kayaked out into the ocean and interacted with llamas. And I mean, when are we ever going to have a chance to interact with llamas? And in other years, we went to Catalina Island, Joshua Tree National Park, and Big Bear for our outdoor education programs. And all of these experiences truly established a sense of family. Next, one thing that PA takes pride in having are our many volunteer opportunities. For such a small campus, we truly have a big impact on our local community as we routinely volunteer at food banks, senior citizen homes, parks, and churches. We believe in the idea that those who have much should give back as much, if not more. And so PA strives to develop not only students of excellence, but good social citizens. And next, continuing along this idea of family, one of the things I'd like to echo that was said from Mr. Rudy was that fun plus learning really equals success. And so on campus, through our school events, we have many, many activities like ASB parties, Halloween and Christmas spirit events, field trips to history museums, advisor activities, and the highlight of each year, prom. Now, each of these activities are designed to bring us closer by allowing us to just have fun with each other, just to take a break away from the classroom, to really to get to know each other as people, as members of one big happy community. And along this idea of community, on an even bigger scale, PA strives to have its students interact with the world. During spring break, PA has traveled to Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Peru, Panama, and Japan. Cultural awareness is truly key to establishing a family, as it garners an environment where students respect each other, and that's one of the things that Mr. Corpus mentioned. Respect. Respect is very important. And these trips also solidify our curriculum, as it allows students like myself to learn beyond the classroom and apply what we learn in the classroom out in the real world. Now, as mentioned earlier, I joined the PA family as a freshman. And as a freshman, PA gave me the opportunity to be me by helping kickstart our very own Model UN team. Last year, I led a small delegation of 11 delegates to compete in the 45th Annual National High School MUN Conference in New York. Earning its reputation for being the most prestigious and comprehensive conference in the world, through PA support, I was able to successfully lead the team through 5 intensive committee sessions, and for our efforts to solve the crises of tomorrow, our team was recognized and given the Award of Merit, a testament to our dedication to solving problems of tomorrow and international cooperation, but most importantly, PA's dedication to student-led goals. Additionally, I like to say that my academic path is somewhat different. It's very different. As you can tell by my haircut, I'm seeking an appointment to the United States Military Academy. This has been a dream of mine for the past decade, and PA has been more than generous to help me inch my way closer into turning that dream into reality. PA helped create a balance between my studies and physical training by changing my course selection to cater to my specific needs. Truly, every student has a voice, and every voice is heard at PA. And in closing, I just want to repeat something that's written on the bottom of every slide: the opportunity to be me. As a young adult, I have eyes and ears, I see what goes around, and I'm more aware and conscious of what happens both in and off campus. And as a young adult and a PA student, I've come to learn and believe that here at PA, every student is provided the necessary tools to both succeed and find purpose. Clubs are created and teams are all formed through student vision, individualization, teacher support. These 2 aspects is what makes PA unlike any other school. We hope for students to be themselves, the best version of themselves. We hope for students to find purpose. We hope for students to self-actualize so that they too may one day give back to those around them. Because in the end, that's what it's all about, family. Thank you, Mr. Corpus. Right back to you.
Thank you, Brandon. That was wonderful. Hard to top that, Brandon. Brandon's a quite accomplished young man, a great member of the school community, so I really appreciate Brandon sharing some of his experiences and insights into Pacific Academy. Really wonderful. Next, talk a little bit about college counseling and our college admissions. As I think I said before, the 11th and 12th graders do get regular meetings, weekly meetings with our college counselors to help them through that process. That's everything from trying to figure out what schools are best for them, what their interests are, the application process itself and the filling it out, the writing the essay, getting feedback on that, how they can best prepare for tests. So there's a lot, as you guys know, that goes into that process. It can be a little bit daunting, a little bit much, but our counselors really help push them, hold their hands through the process, but make sure that the process is there so they can really find the school that best meets their needs. So we do a great job, I think, of really supporting students through that rather scary time. Exciting, but scary. We've got great success in our college admissions. The class of 2020 has been accepted to the schools that you see there. A number of schools, some of our students will go to schools on the East Coast, like Brown or Johns Hopkins, BU or BC. But obviously, like many California schools, our students are very interested in the UCs, and those are quite popular. So 25% of our current senior class got accepted to UC Irvine, which is a pretty competitive UC these days. And obviously some are interested in Berkeley or UCLA as well. We had very similar results from last year's class with some acceptances to Stanford, Cornell, Duke, another Johns Hopkins, again, a bunch to the UCs as you see there. And in the previous years before that, we've also had, again, really good college admissions decisions. And we do surveys of our students and we find out how they're doing. And by and large, I'll say those surveys show that they're doing really well. They feel very well prepared and ready for the experience in college. So we're always glad, and many of them come back and see us on a regular basis. Kelly Chu is going to speak next. She founded the school. She's been an educator in the Irvine area for, I won't say how long, but it's been a few decades. And so she has a real passion for education and for helping students. And she's going to talk about some of our success stories and how we think those also translate into, we think, helping you guys as well. So Kelly?
Hi, I'm Kelly Chu. Parents and students, thank you for attending today's PA Virtual Open House. Pacific Academy is a very, very unique school. I've been in education for 21 years. I'm very passionate about helping students to achieve their dreams, getting to the top university. In the beginning, our philosophy is to have a very small school. So we call it small by design because we are small. So I think the best education is to recognize every student's needs and tailor to help them. Because during my career as a college counselor, I always encounter students, who struggle. They're a very good tennis player. They're a very good musician. But when they start to take a lot of honors AP classes, more and more heavy homework load make them really have to give up their passion for music or sports or arts. And I don't think that is not doable if we are small enough and to support the students. So with this mission and vision in mind, so we started to help many students like piano prodigy, top athletes. And then after a few years, we saw how the outcome was great. We are able to help 100% of the students get into the top colleges. So let me give you a few examples. Omni Kumar, she graduated last year, class of 2019. He came here transferring from public school in Irvine. So he was a very good student, but he really, really struggled because he was the top ranked tennis player of the nation. And he had a lot of travel and joined a lot of tournaments and very intensive training. But on the other hand, he and his parents also know that education cannot be sacrificed. So he took a lot of AP classes and he's tried his best to maintain a straight A. So he came to Pacific Academy, and then we gave him the most flexibility he needed, by working with him when he had to travel, and our teacher kind of email him homework, help him to catch up. So he was able to continue to excel in tennis and got recruited by all these Ivy League schools, and eventually he got into Duke. A lot of parents or students thought, if you're a top athlete, it's not necessary to have very strong academic. That is not true. So if you want to get into the top university, you still need to be a very strong student. So when you are very outstanding in your talents and you have an outstanding grade and SAT score, then definitely all the great colleges door will open for you. And this is another example. Tony is very passionate about cars. So when he transferred to Pacific Academy from China in 9th grade, his only dream is to get into Art Center Transportation Design. Actually, that was the only college he wanted to apply. At that time, he didn't really have a good foundation about art. So I tried my best to found Art Center teachers and also the teacher who can guide him on transportation design. So it took him like 3 years to build a great foundation. And I also advised him to take the Art Center Saturday transportation design classes. So finally, he made it. And he got into his dream school. This is really very rewarding for us. And Umi Garrett is one of the most special students at Pacific Academy. She was a piano prodigy, and she was very well known because when she was 8, she attended Ellen's show. She immediately became very famous and became a world-renowned piano prodigy. So she always traveled around the world and hosting concerts and joined a lot of performances. And so she tried 2 years of homeschool in middle school. And she missed school so much. When her professor learned that our first piano prodigy, Phoebe Penn, got accepted to Columbia, Johns Hopkins and Peabody dual diploma program, New England Conservatory, so the professor immediately referred her to Pacific Academy. And that was a dream come true for Umi. She didn't realize there was a school that can support her very rigorous traveling and performance schedule, and at the same time she could take AP US History, AP Physics, and AP Calculus BC, and she really wanted to learn. And then she embraced the school life, and then she was the president of our film club. She's won our spelling bee, and then she enjoyed our prom and Disney trip. So she graduated as a valedictorian in 2018, and she got into Columbia and Juilliard School of Music. She's now a sophomore at Juilliard, and she recently just won the fourth place at the Chopin National Piano Competition. So we're really proud of her achievement, and we are very happy that we help her to achieve her dream. Eventually, she will be a great pianist. And this is Isa. She was a dancer. She went to another private school, even though there was a private school, but they wouldn't be able to support her rigorous training schedule and a competition schedule. So she is very serious about dance. So she usually trained about 6 hours a day. But she also want to be a very strong student. So she also tried 1 year online school, but then she immediately realized the content was too easy, and she earned grade straight A, but she felt she was not challenged. So she transferred to Pacific Academy, and she loved us immediately. I remember after we interviewed her, we said, okay, why don't you finish this semester, 1.5 months, and then you can come back next semester. She said, no, I want to come next week. So she did. She joined in a few days later, and then she immediately loved the school. And then we continued to challenge her, and then she was able to continue to excel in dance. And she got into UCLA and a few other very prestigious school and conservatory. And the next, we actually are also very famous to support top athletes. In our school, once we had 4 national U.S. Taekwondo teams members at our school. All these 3, they won national tournaments. And the student on the right, he graduated last year, and he went to UC Davis. And then the girl holding the trophy, she graduated this year, and she got into UC Berkeley, UCLA, and with Regent Scholarship, and Pepperdine, a lot of great school. Okay, this is another example of our top athlete. Rose came to Pacific Academy when she was 7th grade. She was really advanced in golf at that time, and we saw her potential. And then when she came, I told Rose, don't worry about academic. Try your best to play golf, and we will make sure to build a solid foundation for you. So Rose started to join a lot of local tournaments. Her ranking started to get higher and higher. So she was able to maintain as top 1 girls golf since 12 until now 16. And her national ranking 19 and under is now number 1. Actually, she's nationally number 1 now, and the world ranking is number 10. Because her academic strength, she was able to continue to take AP and honor classes and maintain a straight A. Her current GPA is 4.5. A lot of top colleges head coach has been following her. So I've been working with Stanford coach to how to help Rose continue to excel to meet Stanford's requirements. So she's recently officially accepted by Stanford as a junior. So we're really happy about Rose. So she has grown so much as a golfer, as a person, and as a student. And this is Allison Toll, a piano prodigy. She transferred to Pacific Academy when she was 9th grade. She really has passion in piano. So she practiced a lot, and she has a lot of competition and travel. She wants to build a very, very strong academic foundation. So we help her, same thing with the schedule, and work with her, because we gave her like 2 weeks of time to prepare for a competition. And then she was able to continue to win in many national and international competition. And by the time she applied for college, there are many auditions. She had to travel, she had to practice. So we gave her almost a month. So she worked with our teacher, and then she still spent enough time to play piano. Eventually, she got into Stanford, Cornell, and a lot of great school and top conservatories. A lot of parents and students would say, wow, with a lot of students with special talent, what if my kid is not that high level? What are the influence, when we have a lot of talented students, and will Pacific Academy only focus on talented students? That is not true. Actually, I'm very proud of our talented students, because at Pacific Academy, everyone is just a student. We never kind of give them any privilege. We give them flexibility, but never easy grades. So they still have to work hard to earn the grades. And we noticed that because we have a lot of motivated and talented students, they actually have a very good influence on other students. Our students know that in order to get into the best colleges, they have to really develop their passion or interest to the highest level. And also because you need to spend a lot of time to develop your talents, and rigorous classes, time management become very important. So they learn how to use their time wisely. So I think this is a very positive impact from the students. Okay, what if a student is not an artist or not an athlete? How can we help students? I want to give you the example. You saw in the video, Linda Lin. She graduated last year as a valedictorian. Linda came to Pacific Academy in 9th grade, transferred from another private school, because her guardian, her aunt, came to one of my college planning seminar, and really was impressed about how we help students to develop their talent and the potential. And then when she came, she said, Linda is very smart and she studies really hard, but she doesn't have other talents. Okay, so a very, very intelligent student. So I know Linda is very interested in math and science, so I encouraged her to join Science Olympia or Math Olympia, but she said she wasn't very good in competition. But with her strengths, we gave her the most challenging classes. So Linda was able to take 3 AP classes, and later on almost all AP and honors classes in the next few years. So she was able to finish 16 AP classes, and her GPA was super high. And then after she finished all the Pacific Academy math classes, she started to take multivariable, and also she finished all the science classes, so she started to take UC Irvine's physics, advanced physics. So her academic was very outstanding, and we encouraged her to establish her club to build her leadership. So she established Make-A-Wish Club. That was really difficult. When she told me, oh, we need to raise $5,000 in order to sponsor the first child with terminal disease. So we helped her. It took her 3 years. She was able to raise the $5,000 to support the first child. And then I think we are almost reached the goal to support the second one. So you can see in the summer, we help Linda to arrange her to do summer research and with a professor or some summer research camp to really help her to explore her interests. So she finally realized she wanted to be an engineer. So she eventually got into Johns Hopkins biomedical engineering major. And by looking at this picture, I was very surprised. This was just a picture, we took randomly. And then I realized, wow, look at our students. in this picture on the right, Jamie, she got into UC Berkeley, UCLA this year. And then the one, Addison Lee, got into Stanford, Cornell. And then Linda got into Johns Hopkins, USC, a lot of top school. And the one on the front, Kendra Lee, she got into Brown. So that's how we help our students, to achieve their dreams. And so Kendra is a very competitive golfer, but she was not recruited because she started golf a little bit late in freshman, but she tried very hard to continue to excel. So even though she didn't get recruited by a college coach, but because her outstanding extracurricular activity as a golfer, as a musician, and as a leader in the club, and also her outstanding GPA 4.9 and her SAT score 1480, she was able to get into Brown University and Johns Hopkins University and all the other great schools. I want to mention another two students, which they are not like other students. They're very quiet and usually a little bit shy. Chloe Hu, she's a senior at PA this year. She came here as a freshman. She was very, very shy and very quiet, but she's very smart. So she continued to excel on academically. And I was so impressed because she started as just a regular English 1. And then when I saw her SAT score 1560, her English reading and writing level is already much better than a lot of local students. We were so impressed just by taking challenging classes and study hard. And she was able to achieve such a high reading level. And her GPA was 4.64. And even she was very quiet. We always encourage students to, challenge yourself, to seek a leadership in the club. So she actually joined the election and got selected the ASB president. Even though she was a very quiet person, her leadership and her dedication still was very impressive. And she was a very good artist. And she used her art to do a lot of volunteer. She drew Christmas card to do fundraising to support a charity. And also she's a pianist, even though she didn't join a lot of competition, but she's a very good pianist. So she got into Boston College, UC Berkeley, UCLA, UCSD. So this is how just a regular student blossomed at Pacific Academy and then get into this prestigious college. And also Jamie Park. She transferred to Pacific Academy as a sophomore, I remember. She was so shy. I still remember Mr. Corpus told me she even cried when she, after the interview, because she thought she didn't do well enough. Not very confident, but because we're so small, and so our teachers are able to recognize and encourage students in every small progress. And then she got inspired and she became more and more confident, and she finally started to blossom and become a happy, confident girl. And she continued to challenge herself by taking AP classes. So her GPA was eventually 4.64. And she became the president of Science Olympia president. And then she performed Taekwondo for many years. And so she got into UC Berkeley, UCLA, and Regent Scholarship. And then she got into UCSD and Pepperdine. So this just a regular student, just as any of our kids, but we are able to nurture them to build their confidence and academic excellence, and eventually we help students to get into their dream college. So now in our community, when people talk about Pacific Academy, their impression is, wow, you have a lot of talented students and your college admission result was very outstanding. This is who we are today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kelly. If any of you have ever, maybe it was evident, but if you've ever met Kelly, you will know instantly the passion that she has for helping people and for education. It's something she's really dedicated her life to and spends an incredible amount of energy and spirit in doing so. So it's quite impressive and inspiring for all of us to work with her. We also have some great parents that we'd like you to hear from as well, and so you can learn a little bit about their experience with Pacific Academy. First will be Chung Chung Tan, who's got two students here, an 8th grader and an 11th grader, and she's going to talk a little bit about what it's been like for her as a family here at Pacific Academy.
No, thank you, Mr. Corpus. Yes, hi, my name's Cheng Cheng. We joined Pacific Academy this past year. I have one child in middle school and another in high school. My son had some learning differences, so needs a little extra support in the classroom. On the other hand, my daughter started taking college level classes when she was 13. So both had been homeschooled since kindergarten because neither one would do very well in a very rigid and traditional setting. So for my son, right after we submitted that application, I was really impressed that all the supporting documents had been thoroughly reviewed. Mr. Corpus gave us thoughtful feedback on what the school could, could and could not accommodate. And my son had some obvious weaknesses, but also some areas of strength. And he's able to take classes at just the right level. The initial adjustment was a bit tricky, but the small class sizes really allowed the teachers to give him the individual support that he needed, and he wouldn't fall through the cracks. And he's learned to email his teachers for help, and in turn, they've been very responsive. So during that first week of school, he was introduced to a really nice group of friends, and they have lunch together and keep each other motivated. And thanks to my son's very positive experience, my daughter decided to join mid-year because she wanted to take classes with same-age peers. And I submitted the transcripts from multiple schools. And again, Mr. Corpus carefully reviewed everything and was able to accept most of her outside credits. She's now able to take a healthy load of AP and honors classes that she wanted. And the teachers have all been very supportive and just getting her adjusted to high school life. Meanwhile, she's still taking a class at the community college, so arrangements were made that she can sort of enjoy the best of both worlds. So in conclusion, Pacific Academy's flexibility has been wonderful for my kids who have some different needs, and teachers all provide a supportive learning environment that really sets the students up for success. And I'm grateful to say that both kids enjoy school here and are thriving with the opportunity to be themselves. So thank you, Mr. Corpus.
Thank you, Cheng Cheng, for your insights and your observations. We greatly appreciate it. And we have another parent, a parent of a senior who's been with us for a few years as well, and she'd like to share some of her experiences. Lily Tran. Thanks, Lily.
Thank you, Corpus. Hello, everyone. I'd like to echo what everyone has said, especially the wonderful comments that Ms. Tan just shared about her children's experience. My son Christian joined PA when he was becoming a junior. I think we learned about the school a couple of weeks right before school started. And we had so many concerns just because he was a junior and starting a new school would be difficult, especially, him being a little shy. But Mr. Corpus and Miss Kelly has been so wonderful, answer all of our questions and worries and making the onboarding process so seamless. And our experience at PA has been very wonderful. Just do it within the 2 weeks with help with Mr. Corpus and the teachers. My son was able to get 2 AP prep courses completed, which is a huge task. But with the help with Mr. Corpus and the staff, it's just been amazing. Coming from a public high school with class size about 30 to 40 students a class, most of my son's teachers don't even know his name. Just the first couple of weeks, he came home with a big smile on his face saying, "Oh, Mr. or Miss so-and-so," that the teachers know my name and say, "Hi, Christian," just passing by him and in the hallway. And, some teachers or staff, he doesn't even have class with these teachers. That makes PA such a family-oriented atmosphere. Just 2 years at PA, he has thinking of PA as his second home. He makes so many good friends, and I was just watching over the slides that Ms. Kelly just presented, and I was so amazed that, oh my gosh, Christian know all of these friends, and they are such high achievers, yet he called Brandon Pay his brother. Allison and Aaron Toe, his brother and sister. It just gave me goosebumps. It's such a nice feeling as a parent to know who your son or daughter hang out with during these crucial years of their life is just amazing. These kids are high achievers, yet they are so supportive of one another, and they just want, each other to succeed. With the help with Ms. Kelly and Mr. Corpus, the teachers, the staff, and the fellow students, my son Christian has blossomed so much within just a year and a half. He got Student of the Month last year. He joined MUN and did very well in a few conferences and even got awards through these conferences. Christian is not the type of kid that would join clubs at school. Yet he joined several clubs and also become, officers in a couple of clubs, which is amazing. So in conclusion, I just wanted to make a note that PA really stand behind its slogan, the opportunity to be me. To me, not only that PA allows the kids to be themselves, but also to be the best version of themselves. And with that, I really thank you, PA, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lily and Cheng Cheng. Those are wonderful words. You put a little more pressure on us with those wonderful words, but we really appreciate that. And I think one of the themes I've heard, Brandon talked about it, I've heard Ms. Kelly talk about it many other times, and Lily was talking about it there, is this notion of family and really getting to know people and how we support and stand by one another. And quite frankly, in these tough times, the past couple of months, I've noticed that even more. So thanks for highlighting that. Admissions. So how do you become a member of this wonderful family? So first is we do have what's called rolling admissions, which means that we don't have a set deadline for when to apply. You can apply any time during the school year, but obviously the sooner the better as we fill up each class. What's required in that application process? The application itself is a 4-page document, not too hard to fill out, but it tells us different things about you and your family and your child. There's an interview that we do with every student. It can take up to an hour. We do a live reading and a live writing with that as well, but one of the goals is certainly is to get to know the student and to have him or her get to know us as well. And they might meet with one of our admission staff members and one of our teachers as well during that interview. Obviously, we require transcripts from the past 2 years at least, and certainly any high school transcripts if they've been in high school for any years. We like to get the portfolio, and the portfolio is some sample student work. That can be perhaps an essay that they've written or a presentation that they did or some artwork that they've done, things that kind of represent who they are and what they've done in their schools and gives us a little bit better of their interests, their talents, and their academic ability as well. We like to get references, and what we do there is we actually ask for the names and email addresses of 2 teachers because we'd like to personalize the experience, and we get in touch with them directly and have some questions for them about your child and things that might help us to get to know them better, and things that we should perhaps be aware of. And then lastly, if your child is an English language learner, we do have one test. It's the International Test of English Proficiency, ITEP, and it's not too hard to do. It doesn't take that long, and there's many different places you can do it. For students who speak English as a first language, there's no other outside tests that you have to do. Once we get everything in for the application, we are pretty quick and efficient. Ms. Angel Beckwith and Ms. Sarah Chan keep us on our toes, and we can make a decision within 2 weeks, usually even much quicker than that. The admission staff likes to stay on top of things, so they're pretty quick, and we can get back to families pretty quickly. Everyone always asks about tuition. That's a fair question. So the application fee is $250. You can see our tuition there, $17,600, and we do have a program and technology fee of $2,500, and that fee covers not just things like the use of our smart boards and our computers and our different programs here, but also a lot of other things. Brandon talked about outdoor education, and we have all kinds of field trips. We have school functions and parties, luncheons at Thanksgiving and Lunar New Year. So there's lots of things. So textbooks that we actually, so some schools you borrow this book from school. The students keep them. That's part of the program fee, so they can annotate and write in them, take notes in them. We find that's a little bit better use for them to help them with their learning. So that's what it covers. How to contact us if you're interested in applying or want to learn more. You can contact Miss Angel Beckwith. She's our wonderful Director of Admissions. You see her, she has a cell phone number there and an email address. And Miss Sarah Chan is also great and very fast and efficient with things. If you're bilingual, she is good in English and Chinese. And she has a phone number you can reach, a cell phone number you can reach as well. After this webinar, we will be sending you an email. And so if you're not getting all this information, you'll have that information in the email as well. And you're welcome to reach out to me or Miss Kelly. You can get our information on our website, pacificacademy.org, which is in the lower right corner there. And we're glad to answer any questions, whether it's about your interest in colleges, things you have questions about curriculum, activities. We're glad to answer any of those kinds of questions. And we are always available and around. So I'm going to transfer to our Q&A portion to see if there's any questions that folks have. We'll do our best to answer these, and if we want some of our other panelists to answer them, not just me, we can do that as well. One question that I'm seeing is a question about next school year, and probably everyone's asking about next school year. What is school going to be like? And quite frankly, a lot of us wish we had the answer, right? We all wish we kind of knew what was going to happen. But I can picture one of two scenarios, quite frankly. One scenario is if we're in school, which we really hope that we're in school, and we expect probably that there'll be school with some social distancing. What we feel really confident about is our ability to do that. And again, it's because we're a small school. So if you have a class size that averages 10, the ability to literally space students out in a class, to organize your day so that students aren't gathering or congregating together in spaces, we're a little bit better equipped to deal with that. So we think we can have classes in school if conditions are right for that, and it is a safe time to do it. That's what we hope to happen. And then if that can't happen, if schools are still online, I think we've proven that we can really have a robust education through our live synchronous online learning. I think we've learned some things and how to even make it better. We hope that's not the way that schools start in the fall or in August for us. But if that is the case, then that might be how we have to get started. There's another question, and I'm going to ask maybe Brandon to help with this one. And it's a little bit of Brandon about how has PA helped you get ready for college or the college process. You can just talk. I know you probably addressed that a little bit, but you can say a little bit more.
Definitely, PA provides multiple opportunities for students and teachers to interact both inside and outside the classroom. But one thing I want to focus specifically for this question is how available the teachers are, both in person and online. So whenever a student has a concern or a need that needs to be immediately addressed, there's always a teacher on standby that's ready for each and every one of us to hop on and talk about it with us. And what this allows for us to do is to really just address what needs to be addressed right at that moment, and it allows us to move forwards and progress with our academic lives. As for me, I mentioned earlier in my testimony that my academic path is a little bit different. My aspirations to attend the United States Military Academy require a different set of packets and information that some other students may not have. And so PA has been very, very accommodating and bending over backwards to bring me forwards and to bring my dream come true. And just even going into more detail, my counselor, Mr. Chris Bonneau, every single week or so, he's been emailing me to check in as part of our advisement routine, but also as my counselor and our advisor and advisee to just really understand what's going on, especially during this time where we're in a pandemic. And so just having that open line of communication really, really helps.
Thanks very much, Brandon. I appreciate that, and I hope that's helpful for the question that was asked. I think it was. I think we have time for one more. We don't want to take too much of your time, and if there's questions that we didn't get to, we'll reply to them an email to you for sure. Another question was about tuition, and it had to do with scholarships. Are there any scholarships? So we do have a few. Families can apply for, so there's financial aid, and families can apply for financial aid. There's a process for doing that. And then there are some scholarships that we have. We have what we call a talent scholarship or a diversity scholarship. We let families know if they qualify for those. So there are some other things that might be able to help families. And certainly as we take you through the application process, we can tell you a little bit more about those and what might meet your needs or be appropriate for you. So there are some possibilities there for sure. Thank you very much. I hope that this Q&A and this tour, so to speak, online has been a helpful one to you, that you get to learn a little bit more about us. We think you'll learn a lot more by visiting us, and so we're hoping that'll happen soon. We will certainly follow up with you by email, and then when we are able to open our doors and have visitors, I think we're gonna try and do that as well. So it'd be great to meet you in person or to talk to you on the phone or maybe have a Zoom conversation with you. So to all our panelists, thank you very much. We hope to hear from everybody sometime in the future, and have a great rest of your Saturday. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.